Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Wickedly Weird Wednesday where I read you guys ghost stories that I found on Reddit or that you guys have sent me in yourself. So if you do want to send in any ghost stories, send them in on Instagram is probably the best place. I'll leave that on screen now, but you can leave them in the comments if you like, or on TikTok if you follow me over there. But yeah, without further ado, let's just get straight on into it. 10 Penny Bridge. When I was 14 and my sister was 16, we went to high school in a small Indiana town. This was back in the early 2000s. There wasn't much to do there and we were often left on our own. So naturally, we got into trouble and made plenty of mischief. My sister and I have always been pretty good friends and I helped her cheat in her French, which was nothing to do with this story, but it is fun. Well, one evening we decided to do a search of a local spooky and haunted place. We found a few and resolved to check them out the next night with two friends of ours who are also brother and sister. We'll call them Samantha and Steve. So the following evening, my sister, me, Sam and Steve pile into my mum's car. Off we were to go ghost hunting, armed with only a list of few locations, a Ouija board, flashlights, and 10 pennies. Oh my god, stop it, not the Ouija board. The 10 pennies were for a specific location, 10 Penny Bridge. A kind of local folk tale that read similar to the Jersey Devil, various goat men, and the like. Not sure what that means. And as such, we reserved that one for around midnight. We hit up a few supposed haunted locations, but got nothing. It didn't matter though, we were just kids out being kids. We were just having fun. By the time we got around to 10 Penny Bridge, we were feeling plenty sceptical and fearless. We drove for what seemed like ages to reach what we decided was the exact location of the middle of nowhere. Granted, much of Indiana felt that way. Finally, we found it, 10 Penny Bridge. All we knew about this spot was that it's supposedly haunted by a vagrant man who was killed there. Perhaps only 10 pennies to his name at the time. But that part was unclear. Anywho, the story goes if you park and turn off your car and headlights in the middle of the bridge and place 10 pennies in a row of the guardrail, actually a concrete block, your car will stall and the pennies will either move or go missing. This seemed like an easy one to try, so there we were. We got out of the car, stretched our legs and set our 10 pennies on the guardrail in a straight, neat row. Then, not knowing how long it might take, we mended about it, I think is what that said, talking and joking. I think it was Steve who called us back to show us that the pennies on the right end of the line had been pushed aside about an inch. We weren't sure about it, deciding that any of us, including Steve, could have moved them while we were all scattered about. We decided to move them back and all stood on the other side of the car facing each other for 5 minutes before checking again. We stood talking, Steve and I leaning against the car, Sam and my sister facing us. Suddenly, there was a flick and a ringing, the sound of a penny spinning through the air between my head and Steve's, and the all too familiar bounce of a coin on the pavement. It would seem that someone or something had thrown a penny over to us. We froze. After what seemed like 20 minutes, but was probably about 20 seconds, we moved as a group to investigate the pennies on the bridge. Then we saw it. Pennies arranged like the panicked line of a heart monitor in cardiac arrest, predicting our own panic. Some of the pennies were pulled to the very edge, barely balancing on the rail. I cannot tell you how difficult it was for us to pile into the car fast enough. We literally ran around it in circles like an episode of Scooby-Doo before finally getting everyone inside and stalling. My sister, who is a fine driver, I will have you know, tried and stalled the car 3 times before it started and we peeled out. After about 2 miles, we stopped screaming and she pulled over. We gathered ourselves and my sister, of all people, suggested we go back. Well, she was driving, so off we went. Arriving back at the bridge, we found all 10 pennies back in a neat straight line. We promptly left, leaving the pennies behind. The next morning, all 4 of us woke up to find that we were sleeping on a penny. More than 20 years later, my sister and I still talk about the 10 penny bridge. Oh my God. What do you mean you all woke up sleeping on a penny? See, this is why I can't mess with stuff like this, because that to me just means it followed you home. I actually can't. No. And it threw a penny between your heads, which probably means that it aimed for one of your heads. No, I don't get involved with stuff like that. Oh my God. Oh, this one is called Whispers in the Snow. It was winter in Kashmir, the kind of winter where the world turns white and quiet, like nature's holding its breath. I was on my way to a remote village. What for? Work? Adventure? Honestly, it doesn't matter anymore. All I remember is the cold, biting and unforgiving, and how the snow seemed to swallow every sound. I found this house. It wasn't much, but it was better than freezing to death outside. At least, that's what I told myself. Inside, it smelt like damp wood and something faintly metallic. I tried not to think about it. For a while, it felt safe. The fire crackled, the snowstorm raged outside, and for the first time in hours, I could feel my fingers again. I even started to relax. Maybe too much. That's when I saw a shadow, just there, against the wall. I told myself it was nothing, just the fire playing tricks on me, but I had that feeling someone is watching me. I tried to sleep, but every time I closed my eyes, I swear I heard footsteps. Not outside, inside. Slow, deliberate, like someone didn't want to wake me, but wanted me to know they were there. There was nothing, just an empty room and my own stupid imagination. At least that's what I kept telling myself. But the unease wouldn't go away. Finally, I decided to step outside to clear my head. That's when I saw them, the footprints in the snow, outside. They were not mine. The prints led away from the house into the trees. They were fresh, too fresh, and they weren't going anywhere. They just stopped right in the middle of the clearing, like whoever made them vanished into thin air. I don't know what happened next. The light went out and I heard a whisper right next to my ear. It said my name. How did it know my name? I ran. I didn't look back, not once. Even now, I can't tell you what I saw or heard that night. Maybe it was all in my head. Maybe it wasn't. But if you ever find yourself alone in the snow and you feel like you're being watched, don't stay. Just run. I have actually genuinely got like goosebumps. That is... No, do you know what it is? It's the footprints, yeah? Because how are they just vanishing? Like, if there's that much snow where you're leaving footprints, how are they just stopped dead and there's nothing there? And then hearing your name. No, I couldn't. I've actually got genuine goosebumps. That has freaked me out so much. What the hell? My ghost experience. This happened when I was around 12 or 13. I'm 27 now. It was around midnight and me and my siblings were with our dad, who used to be a driver. He had to drop someone off at a church that was built in the 1800s because he worked as a security to guard it overnight, so people don't try to come in and steal anything. It was a typical horror movie type church with old portrait paintings along the wall. It was a 4-story church, super big. Me, my dad and my siblings went inside the church with him because he wanted to give us a short tour. He showed us around the whole building and nothing unusual happened. I did ask if this place was haunted as a joke in the beginning of our tour, and he laughed and said, yeah, it was, but he was hoping nobody would ask. He also said that there was a ton in the basement. Towards the end of the tour, my dad was signing the guest book and chatting with him. While I was waiting for them to finish, I look over down the sanctuary hallways and see a ton of shadow figures roaming in the sanctuary. It was light down the hallway, but the sanctuary was pitch black. Like I could see the entire silhouette of people from head to toe, but just shadows. One was even waving at me. They were literally in the middle of the hallway and the shadows weren't cast on the wall. So I looked away and I thought maybe I was fooling myself, and I looked back and they were still there walking around. I blinked a million times. I turned my back and they were still there. As an adult now, I believe it was a lot of residual energy type ghost. Oh my God, what? No, you can't turn around and just see like a bunch of shadows just dancing. Like, no, there's like not even any way you could try and explain that away either. I think that's what makes it worse. I feel like a lot of the time you try and like explain it out of your head kind of thing. Like, oh, I can explain it this way, or, you know, how? No, I can't. I'm going to leave it there because these ghost stories have freaked me out today. I hope that you're not too spooked out. If you want to see more videos like this, please don't forget to subscribe because I post these every other Wednesday. But I do post videos every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday if you want to subscribe and see a little bit more of me. Leave a like if you enjoy videos like this because it lets me know you enjoy them, and it also lets YouTube know that you enjoy them. Leave a comment of a ghost emoji if you enjoyed this video as well, and if you have any ghost stories, please do send them me on Instagram or in the comments or on TikTok. But yeah, with all that being said, I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye guys. I'm actually spooked out. Ooh.